Action.
Hi, welcome to Skill 1, where we're going to relearn a little bit about line segments, adding them together, and sort of constructing parts to a whole. Now the first thing to really help us understand line segments is understanding what are the two little parts that will add up to the entire whole. So if we remember here, just like home to school, school to McDonald's, or home to McDonald's, we're going to try to see what the parts are to the whole. So right here we see our first line segment. LM gets us here. If we add line segment MN here, that's going to add up to our total line segment LN, the entire thing. Now this is going to help us build our equation. Because if we look at our shape, LM, we already see that it's 7. So I can replace line segment LM with 7. The plus sign will just keep on coming down. Now it looks like we don't know MN here. So we're going to use a variable to organize our unknown values. I really like the variable x. We'll keep our equal sign. Then we'll need to search. Do we have the total value LN? It's not labeled on the shape, but we gave you that information up here, that ln equals 16. So we can plug that down. Now we have a nice setup equation. We just have to move that 7 over to get x all alone, nice and isolated. Since it's positive, I'm going to subtract it from both sides. 7 minus 7 is 0. 16 minus 7 will give us our correct answer of 9. Now this next one on the right is a little more complicated because we start seeing we have some variables. But we're going to use the same idea of deciding what are the parts that are adding to the whole. So right here I see a line segment NM plus line segment ML will equal the total line all the way from N to L. So we can still build our two parts that add up to the whole, and then plug in what we know and what we don't know. So when I go to NM, I see it labeled with the value of 2. Plus, I go to ML, I see it's labeled with the value of 7x. And that's equal to the whole thing, NL. But once again, I don't see it labeled here, but I see that's given to me up at the top. Line segment NL equals 8x. And now I just need to once again solve the equation. I see here I have my variable on both sides, and my first step should always be trying to get my variables to the same side. Since they're on opposite sides of the equal mark, we'll need to use some inverse operations. Since I see plus 7x, we'll do the opposite and subtract 7x from both sides. 7x minus 7x is 0, so we're just left with 2. And 8x minus 7x gives us just regular x, and we are all done.
All right, guys, and these ones are much the same as the ones Mr. Baki already talked about. They're just continuing to get more difficult, okay? So first thing we need to do is we look for our pieces. Same thing as before, we've got 2 pieces, okay? Our 2 small pieces are x plus 12, and this one over here is x plus 9. Okay, and when I add those things together, I get the full line segment, okay? So when I add those together, I'm going to get the full line segment, which goes from I all the way to k. And this problem also gives us the value of ik right up here, okay? So we're going to say the 2 small pieces equal the total, and then it's just algebraic solving like you've been doing for 3 years, right? We're going to combine our like terms. 12 and 9 is 21. X and x gives us 2x. Okay? And to get x by itself, we're going to get rid of the faraway friend. Okay, and I'm going to bring this up here. We need to divide by 2 to get the x by itself, and we end up with x is equal to -2. Okay. All right, and to wrap us up, we have one more problem, same steps as before. The only difference right, is it's become even more difficult because we've got an x up here in the full line segment, okay? Same thing, we find our pieces, what do they add up to? Our pieces here are 7 and 4x plus 2. Right? And when I add those together, I get the full line segment. My full line segment here has the x in it. Okay, and now we just have to solve. Okay, x on both sides, but we're still going to combine like terms first. Okay, and then just get x, we'll get our x's on the same side. Oh, I'm sorry. Get rid of this 1. We end up with 4x equals 8. When we divide both sides by 4, we end up with x equals